welcome. This is Aurora with Supercharged Math. This is my online math program. It's just specifically math, but it's taught from a science perspective. What we're going to be doing is math, but also bridging the gap between how math is useful in the real world. So, for example, today we're going to talk about physics in our advanced class when we cover algebra, and we are going to be talking about physics. We're going to talk about projectile motion, elevator drop rides. We're going to talk about throwing things off of cliffs, and then where do we actually see algebra showing up and what does that look like? And so that's going to be in there as well. It's for grades 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so grades 4, 5, and 6, we cover fractions, decimal, percent. We also have an introduction to geometry as well as a pre-algebra course. And we cycle through all of these in over the course of 1 year. Now that's more than your students can be able to do in a year. So this is a self-paced program. You go at your own pace, on your own schedule. You decide what you want to study, whether it's fractions, decimals, maybe you want to start with geometry. So it's up to you, and then you just dive into that area. You decide how often you want to do math, and then we have more than enough content for your student. If you want to do the live classes with me, which is what we're going to be doing here in just a few minutes, then we take 7 weeks to go through each one of those 5 areas that I just mentioned. That's 35 weeks, that's a full year. So your student won't complete all of fractions in 7 weeks. That's just too much. So instead, what we prefer is that we get you started with the live classes, and then you can do the study on your own once you understand how the program works. If you'd like to keep up with the live classes and just do a multi-subject approach, so you're going to do fractions for a bit, then decimals, then geometry, that works too. Just know that you'll take about 3 years to cover all of these concepts. And we have live classes to support that. We do 2 live classes every week with a 3rd optional live class with a teacher that is a small group private tutoring session. So every week we present a new concept and that with the teacher, so you can ask your questions and participate live, or you can watch the recording afterwards if you find the teachers talk too fast or it doesn't fit with your schedule. We always post the recordings right after the class, and so you'll have those. You're going to do 2 sessions with a teacher. They're usually between 30 to 60 minutes depending on what we're doing. And then if you find you still would like more help, there's an opportunity to bring your questions from any part of the math program on Friday to our live study hall, and that's another teacher. Her name is Leah, and she runs those. So we have a lot of support for the students. All right, so it's a typical, we use the university model. So the teacher will present the information, and then you work every day and you study. If you just do the live classes and you don't do any of the homework, you're not going to get very far with the program. So you do want to make sure that you are practicing and participating and doing the work that we have outlined for you. We have lots and lots of videos every single week to support that. All right, so I just mentioned grades 4, 5, and 6. What do grades 7 and 8 do? They cover algebra, which includes pre-algebra and a full Algebra 1 course. There is an algebra-based geometry course that we have. We also have probability and statistics. So there is quite a lot for grades 7 and 8. Again, the algebra course and the geometry course, those are full year courses. And so because we're doing a live schedule, what we are doing is we are teaching algebra over half of a year, and then we move to geometry. And then we circle back the next year, we teach algebra for half of the year, and then we do geometry. If you would like to do a deep dive and just do algebra for the whole year, all that content is up already. You don't have to follow the live class schedule. You do it at your own pace. So you're kind of getting a feel for how this works? Okay, so for today, for example, here I've got 4 minutes left. So for today, we're going to have a class in fractions first. We'll do fractions. So it's for us, it's week 5. Now, if you've just joined us, you would start with the first session. And they're all outlined here, fractions 1, 2, 3, 4. In the live class, we have 5, and then we're going to have 2 more weeks, 6 and 7. And then we'll have a review and a math party that I'm going to announce today. And then we reset to another area. And that way, students that don't join us right on September 1st, they can still join us for something else. So then we're going to start a decimals unit, and you can start with that as well. Especially if your students are kind of getting burnt out or bored with fractions, you can't possibly imagine them doing fractions for a year. It's also good to have a multi-subject approach so your student can be thinking about fractions, but then starting something new, because it's always good to have some variety in what we're doing and not just drone on and on and on about the same thing, especially if your students are feeling stuck or struggling with it a little bit more. Let's just put it aside. Let's maybe start some geometry or something different. Okay, so what's going to happen today? So today for class, I am going to deliver a class. It's about 30 to 35-ish minutes. And then I spend a lot of time answering student questions. And then at the end, I'll say, okay, and you'll actually see me do this today. I'll say, okay, so at the end of fractions session number 5, I want you to go to the page, and this is the actual page here, and the parent video is always at the top. This is just for parents so they know exactly what, good morning, hi Diana. So this is the parent video just for parents about what your student's going to cover this week. So students don't usually watch this. And then what they do watch is there is a button. The first button says this is the outline. These are all of the math assignments. And depending on where your student is with what we covered today, you can go to the appropriate level. For example, if the content I'm going to present today, if it's new to your student, they've never seen it before, they need a little bit more time, then what you're going to do is you're at the beginner level. So it just means you're new. That's all. And this can change from week to week, by the way, because I may cover something and your student's like, I already know that. That's easy. But maybe the following week, they're like, never seen that before. So be really flexible. Don't just stick the label on their forehead and say, you're always going to be a beginner. They can actually change from beginner to intermediate, sometimes even within the same class. It just means it's new. And once they've seen it, it's not new, right? So we have workbooks that you can either print out or review and just have them write the answers in a notebook, in a journal. And then that we have step-by-step instructional videos that walk them through the workbook as well. So if they have additional questions or want extra help with me personally walking them through more problems, that's in there too. And then once they've been introduced, they just need more practice, right? We get better at things that we practice. So we have we're going to hit it at different approaches. So for example, today we're going to talk about different operations with fractions. So we are going to attack that from different angles. This is where the puzzles are and the games and the challenges and all of those fun, or not the challenges are last, and the projects and activities are in this area. And so your students sometimes they'll be cutting things out, sometimes they'll be coloring, sometimes they'll be getting lost in mazes, sometimes they're going to be working on like a pyramid puzzle. It depends on what it is. And so there are lots of like task cards and scavenger hunts and treasure hunts and lots of fun stuff in here. And then after they've done the beginner and intermediate level, we want you to go to the next session and do beginner, intermediate, beginner, intermediate, beginner, intermediate, because the advanced section assumes you are already familiar with everything with fractions, but you would like the practical application approach. And I want to say 90% of our families find the advanced level the best part of the entire program. So if you're a beginner, work on your workbooks and then do the intermediate work, and then make sure you get all that done, and then circle back to week 1 and do all the advanced labs because you don't want to miss out on those. Everything from astrophysics to astronomy. Today we're going to have some in chemistry and physics. So we have a lot of really fun things coming your way. And so if you have a bicycle, you're going to need that for the advanced lab that we're going to announce today, as well as if you have Legos, you're going to need those as well. So we have a lot of hands-on practical application pieces to really bring this math stuff and to life, to show you how it's used in the real world. And then we always have review sessions at the end. We review everything we've done. We also have review sessions midweek, which we had last week. So the students are very supported. It's an incredibly amazing program. It was designed by scientists and engineers, not academics stuck in an office who've never actually taught students before. So, which is where a lot of textbooks come from. So this is so much more than a textbook. This is a real approach to learning math in a way that works. And so at the end of class, I'll go through the website and what all these videos are. But just know there's a ton of videos on the website. In fact, that's why we're taking 2 weeks for every session in Algebra for our upper level, just because there's 40 to 50 videos on there, and they're not 2-minute videos. They're between, I want to say 4 and 5 minutes to 45 minutes each. So there's a lot of content for your student to enjoy. Okay, and then if you ever get stuck, that's where you're going to let us know, aurora@superchargedscience.com, and we are happy to help you with whatever questions you have, because you should not feel stuck or alone with a math program, which unfortunately a lot of textbooks are, right? You ever try to ask a book a question and the book's not really talking to you? Okay, we don't want that to be your experience. We want you to have a happy, positive experience with math because we want you to come back and do more. I hope you get how big this course is and what it is that it's really trying to do. It's more than just learn the math concepts. If that's what you're after, this is not the right program for you. If this is something that you're really interested in because your kids have been challenged by math, they're struggling, they're bored by it, they just don't understand what it's for, this may be the ticket for you to really make a big difference to them long term. So if you're not a member of the program and you'd like to be, you can get a discount if you go to superchargedmath.com. There's a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Try it, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, no hassles, no fine print. You'll get a full and complete refund. If you like the program, stick with us and welcome to our math family. So if you have any other questions, let me know. Superchargedmath.com is the website to sign up. My personal email is aurora@superchargedscience.com, superchargedscience.com. So aurora@superchargedscience.com. That's where you'll find an email. Just fire me an email if you got any questions. I'd be happy to answer them, and I will see you in class.